About 5 minutes in to the 1939 film, The Wizard of Oz, Dorothy, the heroine, sings the famous song, Over the Rainbow. She's been trying to get the attention of her aunt and uncle. She's been wanting to tell them a worrying story about her little dog, Toto. There's a mean lady, you see, Miss Gulch, who wants Toto got rid of. She says he bit her and will have to be destroyed. Now Toto is the most precious and beloved thing Dorothy has, and her loyalty to him is absolute. But old Aunt Em and Uncle Henry just can't see it, and they don't have time, and instead Aunt Em just shoos her out from under her feet, telling her to go find some place where there isn't any trouble. The entire scene is shot in black and white. The mood is bleak. "Do you suppose there is such a place, Toto," Dorothy says, "where there isn't any trouble? There must be. It's not a place you can get to by a boat or a train. It's far, far away, behind the moon, beyond the rain." And so the song begins, and also Dorothy's adventure in the land of Oz. But not before the mean lady comes with a warrant to take Toto away. The law is the law, and that's that, no matter if it means putting her little dog down. Aunt Em and Uncle Henry agree. Dorothy will just have to accept it too. She is distraught, betrayed. Why can't they see how terribly wrong this all is? Why don't they back her up and fight? After all, no one knows for sure if Toto really did bite Mrs. Gulch, or whether she's just being vindictive because he got into her garden and knocked over some of her flowers. Doesn't anyone understand what Toto means to her? Clearly not, for instead Toto is bundled up into Miss Gulch's bicycle basket and whisked away. Dorothy runs away distraught, but guilt gets the better of her and she comes back home. Toto too, no ordinary dog, quickly discovers a way to escape and finds his way back home as well. The two are reunited, but just minutes before, a ferocious tornado sweeps toward the family farm. Dorothy falls with Toto close by, bangs her head, and slips all at once into a dream. The little house is ripped up from its foundations and carried away in a flash to the distant realm of Oz, crushing and killing the wicked witch of the east of this place as it comes into land. A witch, it turns out, who is uncannily like Mrs. Gulch back home, who's after Toto. A witch with an equally wicked sister, whom we will soon discover is bent on revenge. The Munchkins, on the other hand, are greatly impressed by the demise of the bad witch, as is Glinda, the good witch, who soon arrives. The entire scene is transformed into glorious technicolor. But Dorothy, it seems, is not out of danger yet. Glinda tells her she must leave straight away to escape the witch's retribution. She She desperately wants to claim her dead sister's magic ruby slippers, but in the nick of time, Glinda magically transfers them to Dorothy's feet. And she tells her never to take them off, as the slippers must be very powerful, or the Wicked Witch of the West would not want them so badly. Now she must find the wizard who lives at the Emerald City to see what's to be done. But how on earth will she find her way? It's always best to start at the beginning, Glinda calmly tells her, and all you do is follow the yellow brick road. Well, along the way, Dorothy and Toto meet the Scarecrow, who's seeking a brain, the Tin Man, who's seeking a heart, and the Lion, who needs courage. All aspects of Dorothy's inner self, if truth be told, that must be made conscious, developed, and integrated if a successful outcome is to be achieved on this adventure. Well, they all become friends in the process, and they look out for one another, and they help each other find what they most need, their treasure, if you like, but not the kind that glitters. A monumental battle with the Wicked Witch of the West, still bent on acquiring the magic slippers, tests them to the hilt along the way, but somehow they outwit and defeat her, growing exponentially in stature as they do so. In the end, their stories turn out not to be so much about the destination, but about what happens on the way, as is so very often the case. Now, there are so many ways to interpret the symbolism of the yellow brick road. Some say it refers to the gold standard and to the politics of the day. Some say the Emerald City is a symbol of prosperity. But the author, L. Frank Baum, a druidic theosophist and member of the Theosophical Society, denied all such comparisons. The notion of Oz, of somewhere over the rainbow, he maintained, is utterly transcendent of time and place. The rainbow itself has universal symbolic appeal, representing as it does the individuation of the self, as the Jungians might say, the ultimate goal of the maturation process. The full rainbow is a circle. It is a path, a way, a journey toward wholeness, writes Lillian Reinhardt. It is like the medicine wheel of the indigenous Americans, for it maps a way of harmony between the everyday self and the spirit. Do you remember how the children painted rainbows during the COVID crisis? They knew nothing of the complex cocktail of valour, suffering, and likely corruption that dominated those times, only that suddenly most of the adults around them were afraid, sometimes really afraid. The children's rainbows were their way of saying, please don't give in to fear. It's all going to be okay. And in Italy, these were the exact words on every child's painting. Andrà tutto bene, they wrote. Everything will be okay. Somehow, they held on to the thread of hope, when for so many it was lost. Setting off on the yellow brick road, the path to consciousness, if you like, is inevitable for all. But oh, it seems too soon sometimes. Too soon for these dear, sweet souls to live with such terrible fear surrounding them. And yet, children have always had to do it when times are hard. Many of them have been really afraid of what we are all afraid of losing someone we love. And yet, even in the midst of this, they were guiding and leading us onward to a place beyond fear. Over the rainbow, maybe, like Dorothy and her motley crew of friends, all skipping along with Toto, snapping at their heels. Now this little dog is such a central character in the tale. Along for the ride, but utterly unaffected by any of it. Like the fool's dog in the tarot, depicted with his master on the edge of a cliff. Is he trying to alert the young fool to the danger ahead? We might well ask. Is he trying to get him to turn back? Or is he encouraging him to go on? To never mind if he jumps off the edge, so to speak. Perhaps he might just fly. Perhaps we all might. In the end, it's Toto who drags back the big scary curtain to reveal that the great wizard, who has had them all quaking in their boots, is just a kind old man with gifts and wisdom to share, and the ability to show them and us just what we have been searching for. It may have taken a tornado or a crisis. It may have ripped the house from under their feet, carried it through a swirling storm to another realm, just so the characters and we might discover what we all already had: the courage of the lion, the straw man's brain, and the tin man's beating heart, strong and full of love. This is the promise the children held out for us. Belief, bless them all, in the transformative power of dreams. The rainbow song is an invocation, says Buddhist Shunyamurtu in his talk on the esoteric meaning of Wizard of Oz. And the overriding message of the story, he tells us, is to dare to dream the highest possible dream, because whatever you dream will become your reality. So we say thank you to the children, to the story and the song, for reminding us of these things. Let's hope that collectively we reap the benefits of experience and, like Dorothy, are enabled to bring our treasures back home. You've always had the power to go back to Kansas, Glinda the Good Witch tells her at the end. I have, says Dorothy. Then why didn't you tell her before? The Scarecrow asks. She wouldn't have believed me, Glinda tells them. She had to learn it for herself. What have you learned, Dorothy? Scarecrow wants to know. Well, I I think that if I ever go looking for my heart's desire again, I won't look any further than my own backyard, because if it isn't there, I never really lost it to begin with. Is that right? That's all it is, smiles the good witch. It's a realization that's not easy to achieve. A realization that's not really about her backyard and Auntie Em and all of that, but the dawning understanding that what she's been actually looking for is within herself. "But that's so easy," exclaims the Scarecrow. "I should have thought of it for you." "I should have felt it in my heart," adds the Tin Man. "No," says Glinda. "She had to find it out for herself. Now, those magic slippers will take you home in 2 seconds. Just close your eyes and tap your heels together 3 times and think to yourself, there's no place like home. There's no place like home."